What's up, guys? Welcome to our podcast.
She finally realized that it was all mental. Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back.
Hello, Anya.
Hello, Peyton. How's your week going?
Yeah, it was great. It was great. You know, we got a lot of love on Instagram this week with our last episode with Alex. I'm loving it, guys. Thanks so much for that. We had lots of fun with him as usual. This week we've got the French Open going on, so that's gonna be really fun to watch. It's already started today. Who do you have, Anya? Who do you have taking it all?
I mean, on the men's side, I think, I'd bet my entire life savings on Sinner.
Pretty solidified. Yep.
I think it's a pretty good bet. Women's side is wide open. I think it could be a lot of people. So I'm curious to see who runs through. There's a lot of people playing well, and yeah, it'll be exciting to watch.
Yeah. Someone said the only way that Sinner wouldn't win is, one, if he has like food poisoning, or two, it just somehow becomes like astronomically hot outside and he just like crumbles.
Right. Or like if he gets like an injury, like rolls an ankle or something, but even then he might
knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Happen.
Obviously not hoping that happens. There's been a lot of chatter about how the Grand Slams within tennis, the proportion of like revenue that the players get as prize money is something that the players are not very happy with. So like for comparison, the ATP and the WTA tours, which do not put on the Grand Slams, like to be clear, the Grand Slams, the Australian Open, US Open, French Open, and Wimbledon are separate from the ATP and WTA tours. The ATP and WTA tours give the players 22% of revenue as the prize money. At the Grand Slams, so at the French Open right now, I think they're at about 15% of revenue is the prize money, and the players are pretty unhappy with, well, A, it's not equal to ATP WTA. B, revenue was projected to increase year over year at, I don't know, a certain percentage, and their proportion of increase of prize money was less than that increase of revenue. So they're like, what's going on here? Why are we not proportionally getting more as the revenue increases more? There were like talks a few weeks ago of, potentially boycotting the French Open, in which I never thought that was going to happen, to be completely honest. But I think they were hoping that they could have some conversations and come to an agreement, or even like the French Open show a sign of good faith and increase the prize money at least a little bit. But obviously that didn't happen. So a lot of chatter still going on. Now the players are kind of, taking a stand within the media by limiting their media interactions to 15 minutes, like on the dot, to symbolize only the 15% of revenue that they get as prize money. I think this is probably going to be an ongoing conversation for a couple more months, at least till the end of the year. And it'll be interesting to see what the Grand Slams do, because while the percentage of revenue that they get as prize money is less, it's still like the Grand Slams make so much more money than the rest of the ATP WTA tournaments for most of the part. So the players still get paid out like 4 times more for a first round at a Grand Slam than they do for a first round at a WTA 500 or WTA 1000, things like that. So I think that would be hard for people to boycott a Grand Slam, especially if you're not one of the top players and you need to play a Grand Slam to make a living. But like the reason why all of the top players are talking about this isn't because they want more money. And this is probably like reiterating something that has been talked about a lot in social media or on other podcasts too. But it's not that they want more money. It's just who else is going to talk about it. They need to talk about it so that everyone, like the lower ranked people who, again, need to win a round or two to like even make a living for the rest of the year, like they get that benefit from it. Like the top players do not need this extra money, but they want to support everyone in the sport and they're the faces of the sport, and that's why they're talking about it so much. But yeah, so I think it'll be interesting to see who wins on the women's side. Like obviously
Mhm.
Rybakina won the Australian Open. I think she's been having a pretty good year so far.
Decent.
Coco's defending champion. You can never count her out. I think she just got to the finals of something too. So
She plays well in clay too. Like,
yeah, I
mhm.
mean, like Sabalenka hasn't been playing well on clay, but like you'd be an idiot if you were just to count her out,
Yeah, like, come on now. Also, her
especially in a
fit's
Grand
gonna be
Slam.
fire. It's
Oh
gonna be
my god, I'm so
fire.
excited. It looks so good.
I'm obsessed with that dress. I'm so excited to see it, honestly.
Yeah.
The Nike dress, the red, black, it looks sick.
Oh my god.
Um, but yeah,
I hope
no, I think it'll
Pagula does
be
well.
I know, she's gotta win a major, man. She's so close.
How
I
old is she?
hope I actually have no idea.
I hope
They
she
have a
wins. Yeah.
they have a good podcast as well. But yeah,
Yeah.
she has won Charleston, and, like,
Mhm.
you would think, like, with how she plays and, like, her game, it wouldn't really, like, translate to clay, but she's actually, like, a really good mover on clay as well, I've
Yeah.
seen, and she just knows how to win, man. Like, she wins a lot. It's just, like, she's so close. Um
She's almost one of those players where, like, it's under like, people don't take notice of how much she
Right.
wins. Like, you don't
Right.
realize it, but she's in, like, the quarters, semis, finals, like,
Easily.
every week.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time. Like, she's just, like, grinding out there. Um, yeah, it's just like a quiet confidence almost. I would also like to see Svitolina do something. She's been playing so well, and with Monfils it being like his last French Open, I just think that would be so sweet. I just think, like, because he's French and it is the French
Yeah.
Open, like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's
that makes
just
sense.
such a emotional and big deal, obviously.
Yeah.
And did you see she was like crying when he was like getting like recognized? I was like, oh my god. It's so sweet. But like, what a power couple, like, of tennis players. Like, that's crazy. Um so yeah, I hope she does well. But yeah, I think we'll see what everyone else predictions are, yeah, in the audience. But um
It could be anyone,
it could be
honestly.
anyone, and I'm really excited for it. It'd be crazy if someone, like, actually knocked Sinner out. Just, like, made it like a Cinderella run, like,
I know, that would yeah. I don't see that happening.
I don't either.
I think if it
I don't
happens,
either.
it would happen in the earlier rounds.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe. Although he's gotten a
Mhm.
lot of matches in, so maybe not.
Yeah, we're definitely missing Carlos, that's for sure. But
Yeah, bummer
hopefully
he's out for
he'll
Wimbledon as well. I think
yeah.
Wimbledon, like, Djokovic is gonna try to lock in for Wimbledon. I think
Oh,
that's
for
gonna be
sure.
his best chance to somehow get that 25th
Yeah,
Grand Slam, and
I agree. I
again,
agree.
Sinner's defending champion there, though, so,
Yeah, we'll
we'll
see.
see.
But, Djokovic never goes away. So,
Nope.
uh, but yeah, so that's what's going on this week. I think in this episode, we are talking a lot about transitions in kind of athlete careers. So, looking at, high school, secondary school, going to college or university, and how that transition kind of transpires. And then also retiring from sport. So, whether that be from university or professionally, I think it's just a really important to talk about. I think, as far as the transitional aspects of careers, I think there's kind of a lack of guidance, especially when it is such a big change, whether you are going into that, next highest level or you're just completely finishing your sport. I think it's a very important topic that needs to be talked about more. And I've actually created a program now that focuses on those exact topics because I was
Woo!
like, hey, we're missing something here, guys.
We sure are.
We
We
need to
definitely are.
lock in here because I just think it would be so helpful for, especially high school athletes going at to that university level. It's like that's a crazy change, and we'll definitely get into how crazy it was. But yeah, we'll be getting into it today, and we're really excited.
Yeah, so when I was done with tennis, I finished my master's year and then I was like, I'm going into the workforce. I was first off actually kind of excited. I was like, I need a break. I was really burnt out at that point. Like, obviously, I was sad. I was really sad that, like, I don't think it hit me until that last match of like, oh, shoot, something I've been doing my entire life basically is now just like over just like that. Like, I don't think I was mentally prepared for how I was gonna feel because I was just so, like, burnt out and kind of excited to get to a point where I could have a little more freedom in my life and, like, do different things and start working. So, when that moment came around, I think I was unprepared for, like, what was next, honestly, because I was so excited, but and then I didn't realize how I was actually gonna feel. I think there's a lack of support for players that just go from, like, transitioning from, like, college to post-college. Um, and I really struggled with almost in the beginning, like, finding that purpose in my day because, again, for so much of my life, it was the goal is to always get better in tennis. The goal is always to improve performance, improve physical performance, mental performance, improve this shot, become better at, strategy, become faster, become stronger, sleep better, recover better, um, win one more round in a tournament, like get a higher ranking, XYZ. Like that's honestly like what a lot of my life since I was like, I don't know, 11, 10, 11 focused around. Um, and like it or not like it, like went through different phases in my life of like, did I like that? Did I not like that? Whatever. Once I got out of college, I'm like, well, what's my purpose now? Like I literally don't have a purpose every single day that I'm working towards. So I tried to get that purpose from work, from doing a good job at my job and um like almost like trying to like move up the ranks, do a good job, get promotions, things like that. But it wasn't the same, like it wasn't exactly the same. But I think it helped me um in my work life afterwards for sure, like trying to find that drive at work and still doing a good job. I also struggled with I don't have like structure around my day anymore. Like for so much of my life, it was like wake up, go to school, go to practice or go to a tournament, eat, sleep, homework, repeat. Um Now I didn't have anyone structuring my day. I didn't have anyone helping me with workouts. Workouts was such a hard part of it. I was like, what do I do for a workout now? I literally don't know how to work out without killing my body because I was so used to like going 110%. Um, I don't know. I think it was just like going from something that was very structured and very purposeful to something that is just very unstructured and like not purposeful at all. It was just very difficult for me. I don't know how you found it, but
Yeah, I feel like I had a very similar experience to you in certain ways. I was definitely sad after, especially like legitimately like right after the
mhm.
last match that we had. And also at tennis, it kind of sucks because it's very hard to like win the last match that you ever play.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing NCAAs, it's like, all right, well, you either win the entire thing or you're out. So I
Yep.
think that that always is never great. But yeah, I get what you're saying with like the structure thing, and I'll talk a little bit more detail into this in a bit, but it is such a thing where you have such a set schedule as a student athlete at university. And it's like, you have to be there at this time for a class, you have to be at practice at this time for training and things like that. And it's like, once you get out of that structure, and let's say you go into like a 9 to 5 or something, it's like, okay, well, I need to like figure out how to rework my entire life
Yeah.
now. Like, when am I gonna exercise? Because I still want to do that. When am I gonna have time for, certain things? And it's also like learning to fill your time in with new hobbies and things that you didn't have when you were a student
Mhm.
athlete because you didn't really have time for hobbies.
Yep.
Um, so it's like figuring out what you can do, after your 9 to 5 and things like that. But it's hard because you're also like exhausted from work
Mhm.
because it's just like a different exhaustion, right?
It's like a different stimulus. Like
Yeah.
it's very like the stimulus you used to have before was very like physical, right? So you get like
Mhm.
physically exhausted. Now at least if you're in a like corporate job like I am, a 9 to 5 is I sit for 8 hours a day in an in a cubicle staring at a
Mhm.
computer screen. Like it's, like,
Mhm.
mentally exhausting and almost your body gets exhausted because you're not doing anything. Like, it's a very
Right.
like, like, how sometimes you when you sit all day, you feel so tired because you feel
Yes.
gross and, like, it's not good for your body, like, it's a different type of exhaustion.
Mhm.
Um, and on the hobby point, I started laughing because so again, like, I finished and I was like, "I have so much free time after work now, like, I have no commitments. I can
Yeah.
do whatever I want." And I started, like, binge watching TV after work because I binge watched during college too, but not to the
Uh-huh.
extent I was like, "I can do whatever I want, like, I'm just gonna relax."
Right, right.
And I think after, like, a month of that, I was like, "I need to find something, like, productive to do with my time because this is not productive." Like
Yeah, but it's like, especially right after you're done, you're like, I can finally relax and
Yeah.
not worry about, like homework that's due
Yep.
tomorrow or, getting up early for a practice. And so you almost want to like give yourself that time to
Yeah.
binge watch and do those things. But if you get stuck in that pattern, then I think it's just not great. I did the exact same thing. Um, and also, yeah, the whole finding your like new purpose thing, I think it's important to almost focus on that before you actually finish playing because it is really hard. Like, once you're done, it's like almost feel like you're thrown into a completely different life. It's like you're restarting and you're like, oh, I'm not going to
Mhm.
practice tomorrow. I'm not training for 4 hours. Like, I'm not like an athlete, quote unquote. Um, but so I want to get into that in a little bit later. But I think there's different ways to find a purpose, right? And I think a lot of it comes from like what you value as a person, just in general. And so not having to like connect it to being an athlete or,
Yeah.
playing a sport and just making it more so like as a human, like what do you value? And then
Yeah.
figuring out from there. Um,
So
but
you
yeah.
do you think that's, like, something you need to, like, talk with someone about while you're still in college or just kinda figure out on your own? Because, again, like I was saying, um there's not that much support while
Hmm.
you're in college to prep you for this, like, next phase, and I kinda
Hmm.
wish sometimes that they would have, like, "Okay, like, all seniors who are graduating, like, go talk to our sports psychologist, like, 3 times
Right.
this semester so we can just talk about, what you're thinking about after college and how you're feeling and how you're gonna go about, adapting to your new lifestyle."
Hmm.
And maybe that's, like, something that they could talk about there.
I've very rarely heard of universities that have programs like that.
Yeah,
Um, I just don't think it's something that they put a lot of resources towards, which is kind of like the whole reason that I'm starting this program with the whole like transition based thing, because I think it is something that athletes need. Like, I think
yeah,
it's just going to be so beneficial. And it also will help them play better because they're not gonna be as worried about like, "Oh my gosh, like, this is coming up soon, like, I'm
right.
gonna be done soon, I need to play my best ever or else I'm not gonna be happy after," you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it helps in certain ways, in certain situations. Um, and so, yeah, that's pretty much the whole reason that I started. That's the whole reason I that's the whole reason I did my dissertation on the topic that I did. It
mhm,
was like, no, I want to kind of look into this because I swear most of our athlete friends, like 99% of them were like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like
yeah,
I don't know what I'm doing right now. Like, I know universities try to like help with like career stuff, which like sometimes helps. It's really general normally. Um and like, yeah, that's great to focus on the career. Like, that's actually some form of coping, is like actually just keeping yourself busy and going into something new. Um, but I think it's just such an emotional period that you need a little bit more. So like you were saying, I think athletes almost need to be like forced, not forced, but like someone needs to
required.
tell,
Yeah,
someone needs to tell them to go and be like, "Hey, like you should probably go talk about this because it is coming up soon." And you might say you've come to terms with it, but then it happens and you're like, "Oh, I'm not ready for this." You
yeah,
know what I mean? So, I mean, I think you can explore and find a purpose on your own, but I think it also is really helpful for someone to, assist you in doing that because they have different ways you can do it based on like your personality, your background, how you actually like, finished your sport and things like that. So that's why I do think it is sometimes quite helpful to actually have someone in your corner.
Yeah. And again, like I'm assuming most people had never had to find a purpose themselves before in their life
Mhm.
because this purpose of ath- athletic development and constantly striving to win and whatever like
Right.
was almost like thrust upon them, and I'm sure they like accepted it willingly. Like some people accepted it willingly, some people maybe not so willingly.
Mhm.
um but now it's like it's so ambiguous of like,
Yeah.
oh shoot, I don't even have something that like it's just kind of like different. Like how are you going to figure out what your purpose is if you've never had to figure it out completely from scratch before,
Right.
you know?
Right. Yeah, and when I did do this sort of research around it, so I was specifically looking at NCAA women's tennis players
Mhm.
and basically how they felt immediately after retirement. So I was
Mhm.
trying to get them interview them pretty much right after a week after they finished matches, right? Because I just wanted to see like what were those initial reactions because there's been a lot of kind of retrospective studies where they look at people like years from now, like how do they feel about it and all of that. But I really wanted to look at what was going on, how were they feeling right after they finished,
Mhm.
just to kind of see because I was curious just from my experience. I was like, this will be interesting. And I kind of looked at it to get kind of more like into the research part of it. I looked at it more from like a coping perspective and an athletic identity perspective, which we talked a little bit about before, I think, in episodes, but just for everyone to kind of reference, athletic identity is very simply just the degree to which a person actually identifies with the athlete role. And there's like different kind of tones to that. So, like, for example, you can kind of like internalize the athlete role. So it's like you're accepting that role and you kind of live by certain values that like connect with being an athlete. But then you also have the kind of external part to it. So like other people around you, your coaches, your family, your teammates are sort of like reinforcing that role. So it's almost like your environment. And so that's just something to keep in mind as we kind of go through this. And you can have a strong athletic identity, you can have a weak athletic identity, kind of like based on where you're at in your career and things like that. How passionate are you about sport? So like, if you love playing, you're super passionate about it, you're probably going to have a pretty strong athletic identity, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And so there's like different things that go into it. Um, but Yeah, it was funny, like, I wanted to get the initial reactions, and most of them were just, like, pure relief. Pure, like, "I'm so tired. I just
I'm
wanna
so done with
rest."
this.
It's, like, almost like a little bit of a form of burnout because,
Yeah.
at the end of a season, you will have played so many matches at that point, you know what I mean? So,
Yep.
I completely got that. I was like, "Yeah, I feel you." Like, that was a lot. And it's also just, like, emotionally draining, like, being so intense for that many matches,
Mhm.
because I feel like, when we were playing at NCAAs, that was like I mean, can you describe that, Anya? Like, it was
Insane. Like you literally are so like wound up. I remember I was just
Yeah,
constantly like I felt like my
tense.
body was like tense. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was
Mhm.
so just like focus, focus, focus. It was just so I was putting that much more pressure on myself and like
Yeah.
and then you win and you're like, okay, we got to do it all over again tomorrow. So
Yeah. You're like, "No breaks, no breaks."
yeah.
So yeah, that was a super common theme that I saw was just like, "Oh, I'm just glad to be done at this point,"
Yeah.
which I completely get, like, right after.
Yeah.
But it was also interesting because a lot of them were just very uncertain about their future and how they would feel a few months from now, right? So
Mm,
there was a lot of anticipation of like, well, in August, for example, when everyone comes back to university and is getting ready for like a new season, I don't know how I'm going to feel then.
Yeah.
And seeing all of like the social posts and, people in the group chat still talking about, going into the new season. Like how did you feel once the new season started where you weren't playing anymore?
I was kinda sad, honestly.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of FOMO.
Yeah.
Um, I I was kinda like, especially, I mean, now that I'm like, what, 3 years removed from it, but even then, I was kinda like, "Man, I kinda wish I could go back." Like, I
Mhm.
miss I remember, like, the excitement of starting a new season and everyone getting together after the summer, catching up, like, being excited to get going, and I was just like, "Man, that's kinda sad," because now I was just kind of in a position where every day is the same,
Right.
every week is the same. We don't have a summer break in the corporate world. Um,
Yeah. That's the worst part.
it's almost like it's like Groundhog Day. It's like over and over and over again, and I'm like, "What am I looking forward to?" So that's why, not to go on a little tangent, but that's
Mhm.
why I think planning trips or just planning things to be excited about is was something that really helped me after college, because otherwise I didn't really have like the start of the year to look forward to or the beginning of the season to look forward to, or
Right. Right.
so it definitely had a little bit of FOMO.
Yeah. I was like, "Oh, they're probably doing, like, their preseason meeting
Yeah.
right now."
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it is a little bit like, "Oh, I could be out there right now."
Yeah.
And I think it also very much depends with how you kind of look back at your career. And so, like, I would also say most of the people I talked to were very positive about going into retirement, but they still felt like it was very abrupt, like just
Right.
very, just like, whoa. Because it really is. Because it's like,
Yeah.
okay, so my schedule is completely changing. I don't have to practice tomorrow. I don't have to like play a match tomorrow. It is
Mhm.
weird. It's very weird. And so, we also talk a lot about like normative versus non-normative transitions. And so, like, for example, um, like a normative transition is pretty much this. Like you're going from playing at university and you know that you have however many years you have and then you're done. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that's pretty normal. And it's just like you've progressed pretty smoothly out of university. Um, or for example, on like a different side of the coin, it could be like a high schooler transitioning to university. Like that's a
Mhm.
pretty like simple progression, right? Whereas like some people, it might be an injury that it takes them out of competition forever. You know what I mean? So some people
It's like
might
very
have
sudden.
just
Yeah.
right, like very like sudden end of career injuries. So that's one way to look at it as well as being a more like non-normative type of transition. And so I think for me, I think it was really hard. Like, Anya, I'm not kidding. I was kind of going back and forth between Montreal and
Mhm.
like North Carolina after college was done. And I was working at the time as a medical assistant online. And I just remember after like a couple weeks into my job, I was like, I had like a mental breakdown. I was like, I was like, what am I doing? I'm like, I'm home
Mhm.
all day long because I'm working online, right? I
Mhm.
was like, I'm sitting at a desk all day long on a computer from 9 to 5. I'm literally going insane. Like I'm literally
Yep.
going insane. I wasn't enjoying working out. Like I didn't enjoy it
No.
anymore. I was like, this is boring. I don't have anyone to work out with. I'm in some like tiny little gym that is just like not the same as the crazy facilities that we had at
Mhm.
Wake. I'm just like, this is not, I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Um, but I also think I had a bit more of a difficult time because I was very not satisfied with like my college career. So I
Mhm.
think that was a very big part of it. Cause
Yeah.
I asked people like how did you actually feel about your career like in general? Like were you satisfied with it? Like did your expectations happen or things like that? Um and so I think for me it was more like I had such high expectations going into university tennis and I just like did not meet them. And so I think that's why I like after a month after I was done, I was like, I didn't even do what I wanted to do. And now I don't really have a chance to go back and do it again. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, not to
That
get
yeah.
like
That's
depressing.
yeah, I can like that's gotta be so tough because you almost feel like you have like unfinished business and you don't
Right.
have a chance to finish that business.
Right. Exactly.
And now
Yeah.
you're being forced into something that you don't particularly want to be doing, and
Hmm.
it's gotta like compound in on itself. Like for
Right.
me, I feel like for the most part, like I was pretty satisfied. Like obviously there's always gonna be like regrets about things, but I think I was pretty like satisfied with my college career.
Hmm.
Um some of the regrets being those 3-3 matches that I lost.
Well, Anya, you've did amazing things the entire time you were there, so we can just forget about those.
Thanks, thanks. Um so like being more satisfied with that, it's almost like okay, I can like take pride in what I did and move on, but then it's still kind of like you're moving on and you're like, well, this is just weird. Like this is
Hmm.
weird. Same thing with the workout that you were saying. Like
Hmm.
I didn't know how to exercise without structure. Like
Right.
I needed someone to tell me what to do and why I was doing it. Like I couldn't come up with my own workout plans. I didn't know
Hmm.
how to work out without driving my body to like the brink of exhaustion.
Hmm.
And that was something really hard for me. Something else really hard for me was like, what do I eat and when do I eat? Because I'm not
Yeah.
fueling my body for this like insane amount of um output and like exertion,
Right.
and like the decrease in exercise, I was like, okay, well, I don't need to eat like a trillion carbs now,
Hmm.
and like I don't have to eat at like certain times, and I don't have to eat like a banana like 30 to 60 minutes before I go X, Y, and Z,
Yeah.
and it was just like weird. It was weird. I
No,
don't know.
genuinely, it's like learning how to live a new life.
It's almost as if we were like coddled babies up until we were like 22 years old, and then they're like, all right, now you're adults.
Yeah.
Figure it
Like
out
doing
yourself.
Yeah, like doing very hard things, but doing it in a way where you didn't really have to like think about what you
Yeah.
were doing, you just did it, right?
Yeah.
Um and that's also like the exercise and the nutrition components are things that I very much plan on adding to my program
Mhm.
because I think it's all like you want it to be as holistic as possible. Like, of course, we're going to focus on the kind of mental and emotional side to it because I think that's kind of where you can provide like a basis for people to kind of, work off of, but then adding in exercise programs to help people figure out like, okay, how do I do this again? And then
Yeah.
also the nutrition aspect to it because it very much is relearning how to, you know, get yourself energy in new ways and learning how to just like build muscle still if you want or like trying new things like how are you going to
Mhm.
exercise for that. So it's like there's so many different components to it. And I think a fun part about it, and a lot of people can take this right now, is like you have such a sense of freedom and
Yeah.
autonomy in your exercise. Like you can do things for just your health now. Like you don't necessarily have to like be performance fit, So
Mhm. You don't
like
have to be lifting like 150 pounds every single day and
yeah.
sprinting, doing sprints on the treadmill.
Yeah, but
Like
if
you
you
could
still
just
want to
do
do
yoga
that,
and go
you
for a
can.
walk. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Right. But you can try new things. You can try Pilates, you can try Legree,
Mhm.
and I think we've done pretty well with
Yes.
that. Like we've tried.
That's been fun.
Yeah, guys, Legree.
So hard. I think that they are training for something that we don't know is coming.
I
Like
I don't
uh-uh.
I don't feel like I was ever an athlete when I walk into that room.
I
It's so hard.
I was texting Peyton a couple days ago because I took a Legree class, and I genuinely like 10 minutes into the class I was shaking, not even trembling, like
It's
shaking, like
crazy.
moving at least a couple inches side to side on that reformer. Like it was, I don't know how I didn't fall off. It was humbling to say the least. Um
If anyone doesn't know what Legree is, it's basically Pilates on crack.
yeah.
It's like it's very much more muscular endurance based.
Yeah.
So you're like your muscles are
Slower
tiring. Like
movements.
very
Yeah.
much, yeah, you've got like an 8 count for like
Yeah.
one going down like on a lunge. You're going down for like 8 seconds, like slowly.
And then they're like,
Um,
hold and pulse. And then you're like, huh?
you're like, I can't.
Yeah.
And then they're like, all right, now we're back in full range, like after the
Yeah.
pulse. And I'm like, oh my good God.
Yep. The worst part is I thought I had like a strong core.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I have discovered that I do not have obliques. I don't think I have obliques. Because anytime we do specifically oblique exercises, which is for those who don't know, I think it's like the
The
side of
side.
your
Mm-hmm.
core.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like falling into the like
Yeah.
whatever that thing is.
Uh-huh.
And I like can't keep my like hips up.
Like the
I
monorail
feel
part. Yeah.
yeah, like I feel like there's a knife going into my side every time I do an oblique exercise. I'm like, I don't think I ever had obliques before this. Like,
No, I'm like, so my core is just non-existent.
yeah. Yeah.
It's just non-existent. If we're
Yeah.
doing like pikes,
Mm-mm.
I'm
Can't do
like,
it.
oh, this actually just hurts. Like
Can't do
this
it.
just
Can't do it.
hurts.
Can't do it.
And I like to think that I'm getting better, but I truly like it's really hard to feel good in that class.
But you feel like really good once you leave.
Yeah, you feel
Yeah.
good when you leave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
But
just
like
went on a
during the
tangent
entire
there.
time, I'm staring at the clock the whole time. I'm like, how has it only been 13 minutes? Why do we have
This can't be it.
43 more minutes to go?
Yeah, no, that's so good. But yeah, no, I think it is good to kind of like broaden your horizons with learning new exercises, ways to exercise. And you know, everyone always likes to do the marathons, the half marathons. I think it's great. I don't really yeah, exactly. I don't really understand why people hate on other people for like running half marathons or marathons. Like, why are you hating on them? I'm sorry.
I
Like,
know. Like they found
okay.
something that they enjoy. So
Yeah,
what?
if I'm running a marathon, I'm gonna post it.
Yeah.
Like, sorry. I
Like,
don't know.
would you
I
rather
find that
that or
really
would you
odd.
rather them get into like smoking cigarettes every day? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, why are you pissed off at them?
It's a
Like,
pretty
that's a
good
hard thing
habit
to
to
do.
yeah.
It's really
Oh,
hard to do. So if they want to do it, let them
never
do it.
yeah, I've never understood that. It's so weird.
Yeah.
But there's so many different, things to try out. So I think people
Hmm.
should. But I think the other side of it is like I was talking about before with the athletic identity and things like that. It's like we need to be exploring our identities before we finish university and
Yeah.
playing. I think that is massive. Yeah, like it's really funny because when I always talk about athletic identity, I always try to like think back about to when like I was at university and how I kind of treated my athletic identity because I felt like I was trying so hard to not be an athlete sometimes because that would be the
Mm,
only thing that people would reference when they talk to me. You know what I mean? Like they'd
yeah.
be like, "How's tennis going?" And that's kind of that like external thing I was talking about where like people are like reinforcing it. It's like you're only talking about your athletic endeavors and things like that and nothing else
Yeah.
really. Um so I feel like I tried to be like, "But no, I can do art," or like,
Yeah.
"No, I'm studying this." You know what I mean? Did you ever feel
I
like
feel
that?
like you were really good at that and I was not. Like I fully leaned into like I am an athlete. I'm on the tennis team. I'm an athlete. I'm friends with all these athletes. Like you were
Yeah.
way better at that than I was. And even like I was in business school, but I was like I'm an
Uh-huh.
athlete in business school.
But again, like
You
I
know?
liked being an athlete.
Yeah.
It's like I'm wearing the backpack around. Like
Oh yeah.
I
I still
fully
have
went
that backpack. I still
same,
use that
fully
backpack.
leaned into it.
Yeah.
I I still take our backpacks that we got to the airport because it's such a good backpack. It's
Yes.
like
I
the best
use that
backpack
backpack
I
everywhere.
have.
Mhm.
It's got the best pockets. It's the perfect
Yep.
size. And of course it says like Wake Forest tennis on the back.
Yep.
I landed in Glasgow the other day and this guy was like obviously intrigued by my backpack. And he's like, "Oh, like you play tennis at Wake Forest?" I was like, "Yeah, I did like 4 years ago."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh."
Yeah, I know. Peyton,
I
I
was like,
literally still was using our like carry-ons up until
yeah.
2 weeks ago. I finally got a new carry-on
But like
because
they're so
that
good.
they're good, but they just say like Wake Forest, Anya,
Uh-huh.
Brillin in like massive letters on it. And I'm just like, they probably think I'm a current athlete. I should probably get like a new checked bag or a carry-on. Like,
No, I feel like a bit of an idiot
so I
now. I've
finally pulled the trigger.
yeah, I have bought carry-ons that are not Wake Forest branded.
Yeah.
But no, it is so funny. Like also talking to other people, I feel like when I was talking about sort of the external part of the athletic identity, I feel like that just pretty much goes away almost completely
Mm,
after you retire. It's like you don't have, coaches and teammates who are kind of like reinforcing that. You don't have parents or friends of parents coming up to you and talking about, how you've been playing or whatever. So I feel like that just like totally goes away.
yeah.
But I still feel like in a sense people still internalize it even after. They're like, "No, I'm still an athlete." And
Yeah.
which is funny because like for example, when I was writing my dissertation and I had like my supervisor helping me, he was like, "Well, I would kind of argue that one, you're not really retiring, and two, you're still an athlete." And I was so adamant of like, no, no, it is retiring. Like this is the contract's done. Like you're
Yeah.
you're not playing in this
Ever
way
again.
again.
In this,
So I
yeah.
was pretty adamant about that. But then I was like, yeah, you are kind of right. Like I still would identify as an athlete or at least
Yeah.
an athletic person. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So
It's kind of like what
it's funny.
Olivia was saying when we were interviewing her of like,
Mhm.
yeah, you might be done athletic wise, like playing your sport in college, but you're still an athlete in the workforce. Like she still like
Right.
refers to them as like athletes in the workforce and things like that. Um,
Exactly.
so like I don't think like you can ever shed a part of like completely get rid of a part of your identity. Like,
Mhm.
especially if that's been with you for so many years, like it's always gonna be a part of you. But how do we like expand and like grow into
Right.
like different areas and make our identities more than just what we were for this part of our life, right?
Right. No, exactly. I think it's very much again finding those core values that work for you as an athlete and taking them into whatever new endeavor that you're going into and then also taking the skills that you've learned as an athlete and taking that into, your workforce or
Yeah.
things like that. Um and so I think that helps in a sense of you won't have as much of like an identity crisis because you're kind of still living by, the values that you took in your everyday life as an athlete and now you're taking it into, your new job or new career or whatever it might
Hmm.
be.
Yeah, like 0.03% of female athletes go pro, so like even less than like that metric that we've been talking about a
Mhm.
lot. But like 70% of girls who play sports either in college or in high school like tend to get into like leadership positions in the workforce compared to
Mhm.
non-athletes, right? So leadership is like such a big thing that athletics teaches, and just like communication and teamwork.
Mhm.
um so those are a few of the things that I took into my career. But I also do think that I almost felt like I was behind some of the time
Mm.
due to having
Yeah.
to focus on sport, which I think we've talked about a lot too, of like I didn't really
Yeah.
have um like a very standardized like internship, after my sophomore year, after my junior year, etc. Um
Mhm.
I felt like I couldn't do a lot more of those like networking opportunities because your job was always to play tennis and prepare to play tennis. So
Right.
it's a pro and a con.
Yeah, when I was doing my research, that was definitely a highlight of people were like, "Well, I kind of feel like I'm behind."
Yeah.
I just again, yeah, you don't have time for internships, you don't have time for part-time jobs.
Yeah.
It's your sport and your schoolwork. So it does feel like I think it can feel like when you get out of school, it's like, oh God, like these people have been doing this for so long. But I
Yeah.
think also as an athlete, I think you do have a sense of confidence in yourself that you kind of develop over the years. So I think that will help kind of bridge the gap there. Um, but yeah, at the same time, it might be hard. Another thing that kind of goes along like the exercise and everything that we're talking about are kind of different ways to maintain your connection to your sport.
Mhm.
And so like, for example, I think with me, I think just like the recreational playing has been great. It's like I don't need the pressure of like a huge competition anymore. Like I don't really want that, but playing like good matches brings me a lot of joy. Like just
Yeah.
having like good points and like, it can be great for your fitness as well, but like just playing good points, it's like really fun. And like it's a little bit of an adrenaline rush, but nowhere near as what you're going to get winning a, NCAA match or whatever.
Right.
But I don't think I really need that anymore. I think it's more just like I like playing good tennis.
Mhm. No,
um
that's something that I'm probably missing a little bit, and I'm hoping
Uh-huh.
to finally get back into this
Start that
summer.
up.
Yeah,
Start that back up again.
but
Yeah, the timing's crazy. Like when you get back on the court, you're like, "Whoa, this ball's moving fast."
yeah, yeah. You're like, "Where did my reaction speed go?"
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of people will go into coaching. Like I
Yeah.
think that is probably the easiest transition that you can have when you come out of sport because you still are very much connected to it, just in a different way, right? Um, And I also think like staying in contact with your former teammates can be great. Like that's almost like a form of coping through like social support is like being able to, look back at the good times and kind of reminisce without
Mhm.
like getting too caught up in the past. Like you don't want to, be like, "Oh, well, if we had done this," like
Yeah.
you don't want to get too caught up in that. You kind of want to make sure that you're staying a bit more present, but I do think it is to kind of just great to just keep that connection with people.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, just having, like, that support system and, people who, like, went through the same things with you and maintaining
mhm.
those relationships outside of sport while being connected by that one thing, sport,
Right.
is really important. I feel like we say this all the time, but, like, I made, like, everlasting friendships through
Oh,
sport,
yeah, for
um,
sure.
that now have, like, grown into different kinds of relationships that are, like, not as much
Mhm,
so driven by athletics, and it's
mhm.
great.
Right. Yeah, it is interesting going from, like, a very, very much athlete circle, it's almost like a bubble,
Mhm.
and then having to kind of branch out and find a new social circle with non-athletes.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that? Like, how did you go about that? I know you like when you go into a workforce, you kind of automatically are thrown into like a team,
Yeah.
but what did you how was your experience in that?
I'm not gonna lie, like, especially in the beginning, it was kind of hard for me because I almost felt like I had nothing in common with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And when I did meet, like one of my really good friends now, like she was an athlete in college as well. So like we automatically clicked because we had that
Right.
commonality. But
Right.
with other people, we would be talking about things and it's like we literally don't have anything in common other than the
Yeah.
fact that we're in the same industry maybe or things like that. So it's kind of hard because I think for me specifically because you did a better job of like you have like your art and like different things too.
Mhm.
Me like my entire identity was like I'm an athlete, I'm an athlete, I'm an athlete. And so it's like we're talking about things with people and I'm like this literally like I don't care about this, but they care about it. And so I had to find a way and like vice versa. Like I would be talking about like my athlete days and they're like can't relate,
They're
you
like, "I don't
know?
care."
Yeah, like, can't relate. So, it was, like it was really interesting for me to start finding, like, passions again outside of athletics or,
Yeah.
like, different things that I'm interested in, and so, I think that was kind of hard in the beginning, but I think you just need to keep putting yourself out there and, like, being open to meeting different people because that's, like, the beauty of life, right? There's so many
Mhm.
different people, and it's so if you're, like, open to it, it's so interesting to, like, learn about, like, their lives and their perspectives on things and what they're interested in,
Mhm.
and being open to, like, trying some of the things that they're interested in and talking to them about it. So, I think I just kinda had to get over, like, the mindset of, like, um, almost like, "Oh, I'm an athlete, I'm so cool.
Right, right.
Everyone else is, like doesn't know
Yeah.
what I went through," type of thing,
Yeah.
Because like, it
Meanwhile,
pains
they
me to admit
literally
it,
don't
but
care.
yeah. Um, so it was hard in the beginning, but, s trying different things and, like, again, like, going to, like, run clubs with friends who were, like,
Yeah.
more in athletes and just like being able to like chill and like it's more of a
Mhm.
social thing rather than a competitive thing, or
Mhm.
going to play board games with people and like just I don't know, just different things like
Just
book
be a human.
clubs. Yeah, just be a human,
Mhm.
and slowly but surely like you'll find things in common with people, and even if you don't have things in common, like it's you still have great friendships too.
Yeah. I I still feel like my closest relationships are still with my athletic friends that
I
did
agree.
grow up playing sport, but I still do have those other friends that I kind of have those new perspectives with, which is nice. I loved being an athlete. I still like calling myself an athlete. I Yeah, I think I'll always kind of miss playing in college though. Like I don't think that's a bad thing. Like I
Yeah.
look at it fondly. It's like I wish we could do it all over again because it was really fun.
Yeah, I wish we could just go back to the beginning and like when you were just going from like high school, like that summer between high school
Yeah.
and going into college and just being so excited and giddy about things.
I
And
so giddy.
yeah.
And like getting your locker, like seeing your
Mhm.
nameplate, getting all your gear. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. Like it's so exciting, but obviously that's like also a transition too. So, bar all the excitement and the like happiness and just the wonder of being at college, like
Mhm.
what do you think was the hardest part about transitioning from high school to university?
Ooh. I think just from like a sport perspective, it was just 10 times more intense.
Oh yeah.
Just 10 times more intense. And also like obviously college, university is hard.
Yeah.
So you're juggling like you're just learning on the fly, basically how to juggle a crazy practice schedule, but also crazy amount of studying. And,
Mhm.
they don't call it workforce for nothing. So I think that was the hardest part, just learning how to, which I think we were decent at, like learning how to like manage our time and things like that. I think we were guilty of procrastination, which we've talked about before,
Yes.
which is hard to, a hard habit to break. Uh, but yeah, it's just like mentally being able to like stay in it constantly.
Yeah. I think like almost having to develop that self-awareness of
Yeah.
there's so many like stimuli
Uh
going
huh.
on around you. There's like so many things going on around you, and like you want to like be involved in like everything, and like the
Yeah.
social and like the athlete circles, and like do great, like take all these different classes and like yada yada. And
Hmm.
I think you need to almost like develop like that self-awareness of like, okay, I have a lot on my plate. Maybe I need
Hmm.
to like chill and not go out tonight, or,
Right.
hold myself accountable, like things like that.
Hmm.
Where before you almost had like your parents or like coaches doing that for you. Like you still have your coaches, don't get me wrong, but you get a lot more freedom, and freedom is great, but that also means that you need to have more responsibility on yourself as
Right.
well,
Yeah.
and be able to like just be honest with yourself and like aware of like, okay, maybe I'm not handling this too well, or maybe I'm like not spending enough time studying, or maybe I'm not
Hmm.
spending enough time sleeping and it's affecting my performance. Like you're
Right.
not going to have anyone
Holding your
telling
hand.
you that. Yeah, holding
Hmm.
your hand. So,
Hmm.
I think that's
Yeah.
the biggest transition for me.
Yeah, for sure. It is very much building that self-awareness. Even on the court too,
Mhm.
building that self-awareness. It's like, okay, what am I doing in these certain situations and learning how to like develop from that and like taking constructive criticism and not like making it into a whole thing and reacting emotionally to it like they're just trying to help you. And yeah, it can be as simple as like developing a routine
Yeah.
to make sure that you're getting through those really tough days because it is very much like go, go, go. And you need to know, like, okay, when am I going to eat? When am I going to like maybe get a 15-minute nap, which
Yeah.
I did
Peyton
that
was a big
so
napper.
many times. I would hit the bed and immediately pass out.
Uh-huh.
Immediately. If it was 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I was out and I
Mhm.
enjoyed every single minute of it.
See, like, I'm not a good napper. Like, I need to nap for at least an
Oh,
hour and a half. Like, I can't do a power nap. I couldn't do it,
those
and it
power
was really
naps,
sad.
they got me through practices for sure.
Yeah.
So I think that's a skill. But on like a more serious side of it, I think it's also like even before you get into college, like developing that confidence because you are, you're coming in as a freshman, you are kind of like the younger player, and it's like, how are you going to handle that pressure? And, you might have some performance anxiety that goes along with it. So I think it's just getting those, mental skills before you even transition into that freshman year.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Honestly, I think it's just, like, it forces you to mature really quickly.
yeah,
Forces you to grow up and
yeah.
be more of an adult.
And
Yeah.
some people do that a lot better than others. So
Yeah.
it's very dependent on, who you are as a person. Um, and again, that's why I'm really creating this program. It's like I want people to be as prepared as possible. Like once they get like I think it would be so fantastic just to be able to go on a court and just like focus on your game and not like 10,000 other things that are going on, outside of practice and like, oh, well, I'm behind on this because I didn't do this. And,
Yeah.
like you want to be able to just like take your time and develop as an athlete and without having to like worry about a million things. Cause I feel like that's what we got stuck doing a lot of the time. um, and so I think that's why I developed this to be more of a transition focused, like, okay, let's figure this out before we even get into college. Like, if you're having performance issues right now, like, let's deal with it before
Mhm.
we even get there. So then you feel more confident in yourself as a freshman because it's intimidating. It's intimidating. The program is called Aligned Performance Coaching, guys.
Love it.
I just, it took me a while to come up with that. No, I'm kidding. Um,
Apica.
but
Apica.
so, yeah, Apica.
Apica.
Apica. Merch will be coming soon. Uh,
Yeah.
but no, I really just wanted to kind of go through what it's really all about and kind of what the model of practice is because I've probably talked about this before, but in sports psychology and mental performance, there's lots of different kind of avenues to take and like
Mm.
what kind of guides you as like a practitioner. And cognitive behavioral therapy has been super, super popular within the past few years. And that's always been kind of like a go-to for people in the past in recent years. And now it's kind of switched to kind of a more third wave of CBT, which is called acceptance and commitment therapy. So just ACT for short, not APICA, more ACT.
Apica and act. I
APICA,
love it.
APICA.
So what
um,
is that?
so basically, very general, the whole idea of it is to become psychologically flexible, which I'll kind of go into, but also literally just building a very fulfilling life. It basically postulates that everyone suffers and that's just kind of like part of life and like people
Mhm.
will go through challenges and act isn't a way in which you're not suffering through it but you're like accepting it and finding ways to kind of get through those difficult periods and things like that, right? So
Mhm.
it's very much about psychological flexibility, very much about just building a fulfilling life in general, which is why I like it because you can kind of take it as just a human, but also as an athlete, right? Um, and so I like combining it with psychological skills. For example, like goal setting, imagery,
Mm.
and pre-performance routines, things like that, because it takes a much more like practical approach, which I feel like athletes like. Does that make sense?
Yes. Again, like, it's what I've been talking about all episode, which makes sense. Like, we had so much structure. We
Mhm.
always had so much structure, and so I like the fact that yours is gonna be almost this, like, very tangible,
Right.
structured thing that you can, like, think through and work through. Because I
Right.
feel like athletes tend to be very, like, analytical too, right? Of,
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
if X equals Y, blah, 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 you know? So it's like, I know I have
Mhm.
to do X, Y, and Z, and it's gonna help me get to this point. Again, it's like the
Right.
goal setting, the steps. So I like that.
Yeah. And a lot of people will talk about like towards moves and away moves. So it's like, what actions are you taking to move towards that fulfilling life that you want, like based on like the values that you've kind of set in place for yourself,
Mm,
versus are you doing like away moves? And look, it is very much the self-awareness, right? It's like taking a step back and saying like, okay, is this action actually helping me like build a better, more fulfilling life?
mhm,
Or is it giving me like anxiety, or is this what's really like causing my problems? um and so when we talk about like psychological flexibility, there's really like six core processes of ACT. And so we would look at acceptance, diffusion, contact with the present moment, values, committed action, and self as context, which is a little bit of a weird one, but I'll still get into it. So it's going to be different for every person, right? Like you want everything to be tailored to that individual, because no one's going to have the same experiences. No one's going to have the
mhm,
same thoughts or feelings around certain situations. And so that's something that I've very much put into this program. It's like, no, no, this is going to be for you. Like we're not just going to like sit back and chat. Like we're going to be actively doing things, because again,
mhm.
athletes are very just active oriented people. It's like, and we need to lean into that. And again, you want to see results. It's not going to happen overnight. You can't guarantee that it's going to get better, but at the same time, like we're going to work towards something together
Right.
and try to make it better, right? But so if we look at like acceptance, for example, like I think that is such a great idea when we are talking about the retirement aspect of a career, right? So it's like you can't avoid the fact that you are retiring. Like it's coming. It's going to happen.
Yeah, you're not gonna unless you're playing golf professionally, like, you are not gonna be playing till you're 60, 70, 80. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you know?
Yeah, and especially like at the level that you were playing at, like
Yeah.
it's going to end eventually. So, like from the acceptance standpoint, it's very much just like fully embracing that period of your career and kind of like living in that moment and knowing it's going to happen. But like even before you actually do retire, it's like, okay, I accept that this is going to happen. Like what am I going to like actively do to kind of make it into more of like a positive situation. Then like all of these can kind of like go together, right? So then you have like diffusion, which is very much about your thoughts, right? And we've talked about this before a little bit, but so many times and so often, like your thinking just gets in the way of
Mhm.
everything that you do. And I'm still guilty of that, like from a day to day
Oh,
basis.
yeah.
um,
I, like,
and
overthink everything. Like, I was
yes,
trying to buy
yes.
flights yesterday. I'm like, "Why am I overthinking this?" Like, but
Just do
what
it.
if?
Just freaking do
What
it.
do you mean, what if? Like
Yeah. Yeah. Um, but yeah, again, if we're looking at retirement, it's like if you're just super worried about retirement and you're just like totally fusing to those thoughts, it might get in the way of like how you're playing at that time, even
Mhm.
before you finish. And so it's like you really have to just ask yourself, like, is focusing on these thoughts going to get me to where I want to be? Like sometimes it can just be as simple as that. Um, and then there's also contact with the present moment, which
Mhm.
I love because that is just very much engaging in the here and now, like this moment right here.
Which we've
And
talked about
not
a lot. Yeah.
right. And not like honing in on the past or like just worrying about your future. It's like, no, no, what is happening literally right now? Tell me. And it's funny because like when you talk to players, and be like, "Okay, like what are you thinking about right now? Like what are you feeling?" And they'll say something about the past, they'll say something about the
Mhm.
future and won't say a single thing about the present, right?
Mhm.
And I think it's just so telling. And it's like, "No, no, what's happening right now?"
Yeah.
And then also values and committed action kind of go together, which are super super important, and that's the whole reason I named it aligned performance coaching, is because the whole kind of base of the act is needing to align your values with your actions. Like that's huge. And that's the biggest
Right.
part of it. It's like, what is really important to you? And how are you going to actively work towards that? And it sounds so simple, but half the time people are like, oh, I've never really thought about that.
I haven't. I'll tell you right now.
All right, Anya, right now, right here, right now. What are some core values that you can now take into your life? What is
Um,
important to you, truly?
um, I think like relationships are really important to me.
Mhm.
Like family, friendships, really
Mhm.
important to me. Um, just having those like close connections with people and like people you're able to rely on.
Mhm.
Um, so how can I take that value
Yep.
of relationships and
Say,
actively
like, in
work
the
towards that?
next couple days, like, what can you actively do to kind of, like, work towards that value of family and relationships?
I think I can call my friends and family a little more often and like just check in a little bit more because I'm sometimes really bad about that of like just see like what's up, like how are you doing? Like sometimes I feel like I just get so like lost in a lot of different things that are going on in my life and then I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, I love these people, but I don't know what they're doing. Like how's their past month been? Type of
Mhm.
thing.
Great. See,
Yeah.
how easy is that?
Really easy. Yeah.
But also it can almost be like, okay, at this time of the day, I'm going to reach out to somebody,
Yeah.
like whether that be relative, friend, whatever,
Yep.
and just like see how they're doing.
Yep.
It's that simple. It's not hard, guys.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just need someone to like prompt it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Thank you for
just like,
that.
you're welcome.
I'm like, shoot, I really gotta
And
call
that
my
has
grandma.
been that's it. No,
Yeah.
that's the program.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I think the last one is a little tricky with self as context, and there's almost like a little bit of a philosophical side to it that I almost don't want to go into it. But basically, it's like seeing your thoughts as thoughts, if that makes sense. So like almost separating yourself and being like, this isn't like a fact in the world. It's truly
Right.
just me. It's my mind coming up with something. You know what
Right.
I mean? Whether that's true or not, it's literally just your mind coming up with it. And so it's almost, you'd work on developing more of like a noticing self, is what they call it. So it's like saying things like, I notice I'm having the thought that blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
So it's kind of taking it and
Like
being like, oh,
detaches
it's
yourself almost.
right. It's like almost taking like, oh, my mind is saying that, not necessarily like me
It's a
as a
fact. Yeah.
truth. Right. Exactly. So that's kind of the whole model of practice behind it. And then it's basically taking all of those kind of core processes and again, applying it to those psychological skills or mental skills. And so it could be like linking goal setting, self awareness, dealing with the performance anxiety, developing routines, forming confidence. And so it's taking all of those processes and just putting those together, combining them and making it more tangible for people to use and like every day, right? So that's the goal.
I
And
love it. I love it. I'm so excited for it. I love it. I think it's gonna be great. Like I kind of wish I had something like this to leverage during college and then after right after college too.
right.
Um so like where can people find your aligned performance coaching
Guys,
or app?
we've got a website. We've got a website. It is www.alignedpc.com. Also can email me at peyton@alignedpc.com as well. Peyton, guys, not
Yes.
Pay.
Clarify. Yeah.
Pey, the more superior version of naming Peyton.
You heard it here first.
Sorry, just had to get that in there. Um, yeah, no, I'm so excited. It'll be launching this week. So yeah, if coaches have any, players that are coming in freshman year and think like, oh, this might be good to just, get them more prepared, or, if a parent's like, oh yeah, we need to work on some things before we go into this huge change, because let's be honest, it is a huge change.
Yeah.
Like we're not going to sugarcoat it. It's tough, y'all. So, and if there's any players that, you know, have just retired and are like, "Ooh, I'm kind of don't know how to deal with this." This program's pretty helpful, I think. So, yeah. Just a quick
It's gonna
plug.
be wonderful. The app, guys.
The Apica.
Apaka, apaka,
Oh, that's
apaka,
that
apaka.
song. Wait, I
Uh-huh,
should like
uh-huh.
use that. A
And then we
L
just
I
fade out.
G N E D.
Mhm. In
Let me
case
just get that
anyone
clear.
didn't know how to spell. ALIGNED. PC. All right.
Okay, bye
See you
guys.
guys next week. Bye.